Okay, Miss Ward is back for your next lesson. This lesson today is going to cover the water cycle. Now, for your activity for this video, you are going to be creating a water cycle diagram in your notebook, and you're welcome to record any additional information, but I do need to see a diagram similar to the one from this video. So we're going to start by talking about what happens in Earth's oceans. So right here on the diagram at oceans. Oceans are warmed by energy, radiation from the sun, and as they are warmed, the molecules start to spread apart and they are converted from a liquid into a gas. So that is evaporation. That is when water is warmed and it is the molecules of water are turned into water vapor by the energy from the sun. So at this point we just have our water. It's been converted into gas. It's going to be transported throughout the environment, and as it moves up in the atmosphere, it begins to cool. And as it begins to cool, the water vapor starts to form into droplets again, which is our condensation. So that's the process by which the water vapor gas then turns back into teeny little water droplets in the forms of clouds. Now, once those water droplets start to combine and they become larger and larger and larger, and the clouds become heavier and heavier. When the water droplets become heavy enough, they form something known as precipitation. Precipitation can be in the form of rain, snow, sleet, hail, freezing rain. All of those things are precipitation. That's when it falls back to the ground. Okay, so that is another step in our water cycle. Once it hits the ground, it can do one of two things. Either it can run down the surface of hills and mountains and areas of higher elevation, or some of the water seeps back into the ground. This water is then formed into something called groundwater. Now, on this diagram, it's a little confusing because they've shaded all this area in blue. That doesn't mean that it is sitting water. The water is actually just in, sometimes in pockets, like in aquifers or in actual water tables. But in this case, it may just be water that is just seeped into the ground. But you do have water in the ground, in groundwater. The runoff can then run off down and into lakes. It can be in ponds. Rivers are formed through runoff and streams. And when they pool on the surface of the earth, that's what is forming our ponds and our lakes. Now, of course, as the sun's radiation also warms these ponds and lakes, that can evaporate as well. So you can also have evaporation off of the surface of lakes and ponds. Now, one thing that has not been covered so far, and it's this little word right here, and I'm going to actually change color so you can see it, evapotranspiration. Typically, I don't even use the word evapo, I just say transpiration. I'm going to clear that out for you. Whoops. All right, transpiration is when a plant, you guys probably remember this last year from your studies in 6th grade science on plants, but transpiration is when water is released through the stoma on plants. And so you actually have some plants that are also adding water vapor into the atmosphere. And this is just a way the plant regulates the amount of water that it has in its structure and in its able to regulate that water. So this is really simple, less than 5 minutes on the water cycle. I know I have rushed, but please make sure that you record this lovely, I'm going to go ahead and erase everything so you can see it again, the lovely water cycle diagram in your science notebook. Thanks so much.